All right, welcome back to the Golf Podcast. We've got something that I always enjoy is we've got a guest back in studio.
Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. I love our call-ins. It's nice when we're able to reach different people, but every once in a while, getting that face-to-face.
It's nice to have someone here.
It is.
Yeah.
A nice visitor to HQ here. Mm-hmm. So we've got John Mascari, who's the director of golf at Alpine, right here in Rockland County. Actually, is it dipped down to Jersey?
It's Bergen County.
It's Bergen County.
Yeah, we're down at Demarest/Alpine. Yeah.
I always think when I'm getting off the Palisades.
Because you take the Palisades.
Exactly.
Right.
But just outside of New York City, just an incredible club. Really just a beautiful
Top
place.
notch.
Tillinghast.
Yeah.
He's got some incredible membership there. Guys like CC Sabathia.
Big names. Yeah, it's a big money
name.
market over there.
It
and
is something.
One of the most beautiful clubs I've ever stepped foot on.
Yeah. So we had the good fortune of playing there recently with John. You haven't seen that video yet. It'll be out very soon. We did a 2V Pro, and let's just say John is quite the player.
He put a lot of birdies on the card that day.
He did. Mm-hmm. We won't tell you who won. You can probably surmise anyway. Either way, I think you guys are going to enjoy that video. But John is also co-host of On the Tee on ESPN.
Yep.
Gets to talk a lot about the PGA Tour, the LPGA Tour, and now, of course, the big thing that everyone's talking about, live golf.
Yeah.
So we did a whole show on that last week talking about our own kind of experience with it, our own kind of take on where we think that's headed, speculation, some of the big names that have kind of gone over there. But I want to definitely pick John's brain a little bit. He's somebody who's been in the world of golf for a long time. I think he'll have a very unique perspective on it. Mm-hmm. So we'll dive into that. And then the other big thing that everybody's talking about, obviously the Open Championship, 150th. I mean, what a year, marquee year at St. Andrews. We'll get some of his picks for that.
Can't wait to watch that. We'll talk to him about that. And then I want to ask him about his experience. I heard he played the Grove, MJ's new course down in Florida. He might have some stories for us. We'll see.
Yeah, talk about exclusive.
Yeah.
There's a place you're not getting in unless you know somebody, that's for sure. But I'll tell you what, let's not keep you waiting. We're going to do a quick word from our sponsors, then we're going to hop right into our interview with John Mascari.
All right, we partner with DraftKings Sportsbook to give you this special deal. They are giving all new customers a risk-free bet up to $1,000 if your bet loses. I love this. So here's what you got to do. Head over to DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and check out all that they have to offer, including same game players, player props, live betting. There's so much you can do on this app. I love playing around with things like top 5, top 10, because you don't have to always pick the winner when it comes to golf among all the other sports that they offer. DraftKings Sportsbook, one of America's top-rated sportsbook app. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. You could deposit money easy. You can withdraw your money easy. I've done it all. It's simple. And the sportsbook, if it's not available in your state, it's all good, because don't forget about the DraftKings Fantasy app, which I also play. I mean, I can't not. Yeah. They're offering millions of dollars in total prizes every week. So, guys, download and sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook. Get in on all the exciting action for a shot at winning cash. New customers, you're going to receive that free bet up to $1,000 if your free bet loses. So sign up using the promo code Golficity. Don't forget that I in the middle, GOLFICITY, and get this offer. Start seeing all the great ways that DraftKings brings you closer to your favorite sports. And I want to thank Gosling's Rum. This podcast is sponsored by Gosling's, the creator of the Dark and Stormy cocktail, the official cocktail of the 19th hole. Little rum, little ginger beer, little lime, little ice. Gets you through the day. You know, on a day like today, it's dark and stormy out. Get the pre-made dark and stormies if you don't want to go through all the rigmarole, which, by the way, it's too simple ingredients. But if you don't want to do that.
But the convenience store, you throw one of those in the cooler, bring it to the golf course.
That's it. You just throw them their pre-made cocktails in a can. You can also check out their merch shop at darkandstormy.com. But here's the kicker. $15 off if you use our Golficity code at checkout. That's right. You can get it on the alcohol and it'll ship right to your door. You got to love it. That offer's valid through August 31st. 21 or older. Please drink responsibly and go check out goslingsrum.com.
Yeah, and of course, guys, we also want to thank Titleist. Guys, you've seen it. If you've been around before, if you've seen our content, you know how much we value a good fitting. And the reality is nothing will do more to improve your driver performance than getting fit by an authorized Titleist fitting specialist. With that outstanding featured shafts and new premium partnership with Graphite Design, they have the tools to get your game dialed in. And, we saw it really firsthand, Mike, with the guys on tour, what work goes into getting those guys dialed in when we were on the tour truck. And recently at TPC River Highlands, we got a chance to pop our head in there again. Just incredible, the amount of detail and just understanding that and just trying to bring a little bit of that to our own game. And I've been, since the get-go, I've been so impressed with what they've done with the TSI drivers. Saw immediate gains when we went through our fitting, popping them on the same shaft combination we were playing previously, but where we really saw it started to get dialed when it came to both distance and dispersion was when we got into that fitting. And again, there are so many of those premium shafts that you can pair up with that head. Find the right thing for your game. Every one of us as golfers are different. And when you find that right mix of equipment and golfer, that's where the magic really kind of happens.
Magic, baby.
It does. Mm-hmm. So make sure you go to Titleist.com, learn more about those TSI drivers, and more importantly, schedule your fitting today. The fitting experience, it is just something, if you haven't done it before, you've really got to see it to believe it. And I don't think you'll ever buy off the rack again after you've seen how that changes things. So like I said, visit Titleist to learn more about the TSI drivers and schedule your fitting today. All right, let's bring John on the show. All right, guys, we got John Mascari, who is the director of golf at Alpine, also co-host of On the Tee.
That's right.
So wearing a lot of hats.
Oh, man.
Well, even in your director of golf role, you're wearing a lot of hats.
I have a whole closet full of hats.
Yeah.
It feels like. Yes. Thanks for having me, guys. It's certainly been great. It's certainly been fun to work at a terrific course like Alpine.
Yeah.
But getting into the radio and getting into the golf media thing has been something that's been a labor of love for me as well. So,
how many years now going for that?
we're in our 5th season on the tee. I do it with Anita Marks from ESPN fame and Christina Thompson, who runs golf for her here in New Jersey. So we started out 5 years ago. Anita and I were student teachers. She was my golf student. So we were. She was taking lessons from me. And she was like, well, I want to think about having a golf show on ESPN Radio. I love the golf. I think there's a market there.
Yeah.
You want to be my co-host? And I couldn't get the word yes.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, I didn't really know anything about this. I just, blabbed into a microphone. And it's been great for 5 years.
Now, she's been doing it for a while, right? In other sports?
Yeah. She's really a football person. She's getting into a lot of golf. She has her own show on ESPN every week, so she talks about everything from baseball to football to basketball, all sports that are going on in the country. But really a football background. She actually played professional football, ladies professional football.
Oh, interesting.
Way back in the day. But she's fantastic. She's taught me a lot. I've learned a lot just by being across the table from her.
Yeah.
And it's been really good. So
where do you do that show? Is it remote? You go into the studio?
We used to do it in the ESPN Radio studio. So we had our own studio, or we were in the Michael Kay show studio.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
So I used to sit in the Don LaGreca chair, which was always fun for me. But since COVID, we've done remote. Yep. So I have a setup with a big mic, and we do it from home. And sometimes I'll do it from the club if I have an early morning.
Right.
But
That's
it's on Sunday mornings. It's great.
Sunday mornings.
8 to 9.
Nice. And you're just golf 8 to 9 during On the Tee?
Just golf. Straight golf. We talk about what's going on tour, what's coming up, what's going on in the...
we want to get your take on some things.
For sure.
There's a few things going on.
There's a few.
Tour,
Just a couple things. Just a couple things. But first, Alpine. How long are you with Alpine now?
This is my 5th season at Alpine as the head professional / director of golf.
I mean, that's someplace.
I'm very blessed. It's a traditional Tillinghast course, 1928. So it's old. It's got a lot of the architecture that was from that period. Not a lot changed on the golf course. We added some length over the years, but if you look at the blueprints of the property, the holes are still laid out the same. So it's really a testament to classic golf.
Yeah.
If you know the area, especially up there in Bergen County, Rockland County.
Big celebrity row out there, right?
A lot of celebrities, a lot of big houses. This is why I don't live near there, but... But it's got a lot of terrain, obviously with the name. Yeah. So you never have a flat lie. There's always a lot of undulation. The
I think that was like the first thing you warned us on the first hole. You're not going to get a flat lie out here, boys.
You're not going to get a flat lie. And I wasn't kidding about that.
Nope.
I mean, when you think about it as a player, even the littlest pitch in your stance, in uphill, downhill, side hill, makes a difference to how you hit your shot. So it's our handicaps travel well for our members there because it's a really tough golf course.
I can imagine. And how long have you been playing yourself?
Oh man, I kind of got the golf bug around 13, 14 years old.
Yeah.
I was a pretty decent baseball player growing up, so that was like my focus.
Yep.
But started playing golf with my dad, who was a 13, 15 handicap, and liked hitting it far and was very competitive with that. So I picked up clubs, and if I had free time, I would try to play as much golf as I could. I didn't grow up in at a country club. I was a public course kid. I grew up in Staten Island, so it was all New York City public courses.
Sure.
So mostly self-taught?
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I mean, we had a family friend who was a decent player.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford really golf lessons or stuff like that. It was just, I had a shag bag.
Right.
And I would go to an open field and had I never forget this. I had 2 old tires.
Yeah.
And I would put them like 120 yards away and hit balls to one tire, shag them, hit them to the other tire, pick them up. And hitting into like off a baseball field, like just into the backstop, like little stuff like that. It was just, I didn't know any different.
Right.
There was no, it was one private club in New York. I used to caddy there, but I was never thinking about playing there. But honestly, it really, my love for the game really grew because of that. It was time with my dad. It was time out there alone. It was time working on my game.
Sure.
It was kind of
probably why your short game's so filthy.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you how many birdies you dropped on us.
I'm not going to tell you who won either.
No.
You guys, no way you can guess.
But next week you'll find out.
Right?
I've always had a pretty decent short game because, in a funny story, the front of my house growing up, I had like this little square piece of grass. It was probably as big as this table.
Yep.
And I would just kind of chip back and forth towards it like it was a green, like up, flop shot, low shot, and
so a lot of hours.
People driving by. Who's this kid playing golf on the front lawn in Staten Island?
Yep.
It's like the story you hear about Wayne Gretzky. His father used to hose down and freeze the yard every winter, and that was his rink. And they said that the neighbors would see him, and the moment they woke up to the moment they went to bed, he's out there.
That's why.
Grinding.
Please
out.
don't ever mention Wayne Gretzky and me in the same comment or ever again.
Well, yeah. Look, I mean, the similarity though is that it sounds like you spent a lot of hours out there learning the game.
Yeah, well, you know what? For me, it was fun.
You were enjoying it.
It wasn't like at work hours. It wasn't like grinding. It was like, I'm going to go outside and hit balls. And
just enjoying
this,
it.
And like, how many can I get by home plate from center field? And how many,
Right.
That was the great part about, growing up as a kid at that age. And, golf wasn't really popular at that point.
Right.
Were you like a trick shot kid, or was it just focusing on trying to get better?
It was focusing. I wanted to hit it long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And it was more of like I was the kid that was on the range with all the old guys.
Got it. Yeah.
Right.
So who's the kid at the end of the range pounding balls? Everyone would kind of.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like cool to me. Like, hey, I'm hanging with these guys. I can hit it further than him and hit it further than my dad. And then I can hit it to the end of the range.
Right.
And watch this. I can hit it over the net, stuff like that. And it became competitive that way. And I had played team sports my whole life. I was a hockey player all through college. I played baseball, as I said. But golf was that it was just me.
Yeah.
And there was something that drew me to that, which was cool.
Yeah.
That individual sport. Yeah. I mean, look, the reason I asked too is because I've always kind of wondered when I come across really good golfers, how where they got to that level. And then at some point, is it kind of like riding a bike? Because I know, and speaking to some good golfers, when they are still, let's say it's a teaching pro or something like that, if they're going to go play in a tournament, they want to have some time that they can start to get their game back in order. But, as you said, you're a very busy man wearing a lot of hats. You don't get out there that much. But then we go and play against you and you're dropping like 6 birdies on us. And it gets my wheels turning. And I'm like, is it, for some of these really good golfers, is it like riding a bike? Like, did you put so much work in at the young age that like now you could get around out there pretty darn good
I think there's
at any time?
Yeah, I think I don't want to say it is like riding a bike. It's not like you can just walk out of your car and get out there and shoot 65.
Right.
I think maybe as a younger player, it's a little easier because your body kind of gets back into it real quick.
Sure.
As you get older, that gets harder.
Yeah.
But I know my swing and I know my keys. So it's just certain things. And I'll be honest, hitting balls on the range, even if it's 5 minutes beforehand, if my ball flies typically right to left, if I'm hitting a little bit of a cut or a fade,
Yeah.
we're going with a fade today.
That's what you're
Right.
doing.
Yeah, it's not. I'm not going to labor over trying to get it, fit a round peg into a square hole. It's just a matter of this is what your hand you're dealt. Try to figure it out. And I think if you ask a lot of, especially the tour players, how they'll probably tell the same thing. Where there are days where they either just don't have it,
Yeah.
and they're just trying to kind of keep it together,
Yeah.
Right.
or there's days where they feel like they're firing all cylinders and it's
Go after it.
full throttle. Let's go.
Look at Morikawa at the Open, the
Right.
U.S. Open. The guy said he's never played a draw before. Where does his fade go? But
Yeah.
but look where he did.
and look how he finished.
Right.
Yep.
He just so that's a little bit of the key. Like I'm trying to put it together for myself, and just as we learn the game, is like that maybe it's a little bit of that is just knowing that approach. Like whereas a lot of us as amateurs do try to fit a square peg in a round hole, we're trying a million different fixes while we're out there, rather than just working with what we've got that day.
That's true.
But because it's always like I said, it's you get to a point like a lot of us, we get to the game later in life, and we don't have all the time to kind of grind it out. We're lucky if we can escape for an hour for the range, and the wife
Most of
takes
our
the
practice
kids.
is in here.
You know what I mean? So it becomes a little bit more discouraging. It's like we don't feel like we can make that kind of ground in that kind of time. It almost seems like some things become like unattainable. But that's why it seems like you almost get a big head start if you discover the game as a kid and you can really get into it when you have some more
like
time.
anything else, the younger you start,
Yeah.
the more comfortable you're going to
course.
be and the better you're going to be. That's not saying that you guys,
Can't
if you
do it.
start at 30, 40, whatever, you can't enjoy the game.
Right.
Just know that you're not starting from the same starting line that I started at.
Right.
You're
Right.
in the turn back here more.
Sure.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you can't catch up.
Right.
So I tell a lot of students, especially as they're getting into golf, the one thing you have to remember is that we all started where you were. Mm-hmm. There were, I started as someone who couldn't get the ball up in the air or was hitting dribblers or this and that.
Sure.
Now, I was 14 doing it versus maybe someone who's 34, but we all started at that point. We weren't just given the club and, 4-yard draw. It was, you
course.
had to cultivate that.
Sure.
That goes to your athleticism, your commitment, but you can't expect just to show up and play great golf if you're not really committing to it a lot. And that's one of the challenges I have from being a collegiate player to and playing professionally to now transitioning more into running the club from a golf perspective. Is my time is I can't spend 2 hours grinding over take half an hour and putt, half an hour and chip, have a break, stretch out, hit drivers. It's, hey, I got 15 minutes between meetings. Let me go try to hit some 100-yard shots.
Yeah.
Or let me just sit in the bunker for 20 minutes.
Sure.
Stuff like that. And
So when you do work with that limited time, is it more so knowing, again, going back to knowing your game, knowing what's the most bang for my buck here?
exactly. It's like, again, there's like 2 or 3 keys for me that I'm always cognizant of in my swing that's all I'll think of.
Just
All right,
work
you know
on
what?
that.
Let's remember, we want to get that left hand to be a little more, I tend to get cupped this way. I want to feel like it's a little more flat.
Yeah.
Hit a few shots. For me, it's always 100 it in. If I have 15 minutes to hit balls, wedges. I'm not even taking anything else out of my bag. Maybe I'll roll a few putts, but 100, 90, I kind of work down 40, 50-yard shots because you know what? You can drive it. I'm going to hit the fairway or the rough.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit an approach somewhere on the green or off the green, but where I can really make it up is getting it up and down.
That's no.
That makes up for a lot of errors.
So in your years back when you were like coaching and seeing students, would you say that a lot of hockey and baseball players were good at golf?
Yeah,
Like you could
great
just see
hand-eye
the swing-
coordination.
Yeah.
right?
Particularly those
Pretty
two
simple.
sports would be.
Hockey players usually make the best golfers.
That's what I was going to ask you. Which one of the two?
They know how to use their body real well.
Sure.
A lot of weight shift, a lot of transfer. The swing plane is very similar, but they know how to create speed. Same with baseball players.
Yeah, and I know Cece's one of the members there, and he's
right. So
one of the
Cece's
all-star
relatively
pitcher.
a new golfer, right? So look at him.
Yeah.
Perfect example we were speaking about. Someone who came to the game late,
Yeah.
but now has time to invest and
Time,
works on his
yeah.
game. And
Right.
we sit on the range together, and I watch him hit balls, and he's playing a lot of golf, and we equate a lot of the golf to him
Sure.
and his pitching.
Yeah.
Like he understands weight shift.
Sure.
He understands how to rotate, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I got you. I know what that is.
Yeah, that's key.
And it's as a teacher, it's easy. You kind of key on those things. All right, let me think about what they know of in their past life or their previous sport or whatever they played, and you can key on that. And a lot of times, even with regular members who played sports when they were kids, hey, show me how you throw a ball.
Right.
And they'd rotate and their hips would turn. They follow through and all that. I'm like, you know how to do it, right? Now we have to just build that into a golf swing.
Because, not many people could throw a baseball 95 plus mile per hour. I couldn't even probably get past 65.
Right.
My arm would fall off,
right.
Yeah.
But do you see that someone who could throw that hard can hit a ball further? Does it transition that much? No doubt.
Because, if you think about baseball, especially someone like CeCe, you're using your body.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not just this motion.
Right.
And those
It's
ground
rotation,
forces
it's
and
ground
pushing, yeah.
force,
Leg, yeah.
it's lag of the arm. It's all sorts of stuff that we talk about in the golf business in a different arena.
Yeah.
And someone like CeCe picks it up real quick.
Yeah.
Which is, it's fun
That's
for us
cool.
because it's like, hey, think about you pushing off the rubber here. All right. And you watch his hips turn and he rotates and wow.
Yeah. Wow.
It's someone like CeCe, he's a challenge because he hits it so far.
Right.
Like he can't even hit balls on our range up to like a 5-iron. Because he hits it 220, 230. I have to take him on the golf course to hit drivers because he hits it so long.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But, someone like CeCe who's, pays attention to his body,
Yeah.
works out a lot, loves the game. Anytime he can get a club in his hand, he is a golf aficionado now.
That's cool.
Like he is bitten
Yeah.
by the golf bug.
Yep.
So it's fun to see. He loves it. And the other thing is with him, he understands where he is in his golf journey. Mm-hmm. Here's someone who was at the top of their game.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the best pitchers in baseball,
Yeah.
Cy Young Award winner. Mm-hmm. Now you're putting him in a sport where, what are these? Right?
Yeah.
So it's quite humbling to him, and I would think for any other athlete, but you can still see that competitiveness in him. Mm-hmm. You can still see that he wants to get better, he wants to improve, he wants to have fun, and that's fun
It's
to be
like
around.
going from a senior in high school to a freshman in college, back at the bottom.
That's right.
You know?
You used to be
You were the big
man on campus, and now
you're back at. But we do see that too.
spitballs
We,
at you.
we recently had Bryce Butler, a former NFL wide receiver, on the show, and same thing. Like a lot of these guys you've seen, he talked about a lot of the other NFL players. They get to that point, they're still young when they finish that career, and these guys are competitive. And a lot more and more of them are finding golf because it's a sport you play, forever, and they're pouring their competitiveness into it, and they're getting good quick because it's that same mindset.
They're athletes.
The
They're
mindset.
athletes.
Yeah, there's the natural ability, but there's also that athletic mindset.
The competitive juices never stop.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I bet you if you talk to any of those guys, they're probably competitive. If we were playing poker, we were playing golf, hey, I can throw this quarter closer to the wall than you can.
Yep.
No matter what it is in their life, they had that competition. And that's
to-
why they got to where they are.
Yep.
Because that just fueled them every time. You want to be the best in your town. I want to be the best in my state. I want to be the best on the East Coast.
Sure.
It's
I've heard
never
those
boom.
stories about Tiger where they said even if it was like a rain delay and it was just like who could throw this across the table, it would be like he was like
Yeah, he
that
was
was
locked
it.
in.
That's all he could think
yeah.
about. Like that's the competition. It's wild. But yeah, it's just interesting stuff. And it's cool that you get to come across so many different personalities in that capacity there.
Yeah,
on Alpine.
that's probably one of the biggest challenges of my job
Yeah.
is you have 400 members, all of whom react differently to how you are and how, some guys are very serious. Some guys really couldn't care less.
Right.
Some guys feel like they're playing in the U.S. Open.
Right.
Other guys don't really care. So you have to, I get real good at kind of being a chameleon, knowing my members, knowing who I'm talking to as far as, hey, I can mess around with him a little bit and bust his stones. And
Yeah.
the other guy, it's, good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Right.
Top button type thing. So
right.
So like people are coming to you for pretty much anything golf related, right? They're seeking out John if they've got issues with the course, anything. Like you're the guy.
unfortunately,
I know.
Nowhere to hide.
It's like I always make this joke. It's like I'm in my office, right, and it's like a doctor's office. I should have chairs sitting
Right.
out front of my door because it's
Yeah.
it's a line of, hey, could you sign me up for the member guest?
Exactly.
What's the deal with the first cut?
Yep.
What
coming to
time
you.
is the range open? When is the ladies member guest? And
But that's wild.
how can we
400
get
members,
food on the golf course?
Yeah, exactly. It's like know your client, know your people, know your customer. You got to
Right,
know
it's
everyone.
okay though because frankly, I'm the face of the operation.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm
right.
the one who's
Exactly.
out there. I'm on the range. I'm on the first tee. I'm in the golf shop. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
It comes with the territory.
You gotta enjoy it.
You have
Yeah.
to, hey, if people are coming to me for golf, that means they trust me. That means they know that it will get done, and they know that I'm going to steer them in the right direction, but also tell them where it's at.
Yeah.
Too.
How is the membership right now? Is it full up?
Yeah, we're pretty full.
Waiting list?
Yeah,
I mean, it's been busy
We're probably
everywhere.
like 2 people short of a waiting list.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the application in the car, guys. If you want. I don't know what happened. I must have left
tried
it
to
home.
win it.
Well, we tried to win one. Yeah.
Well, go ahead.
It's, listen, it's been a blessing the last few years coming out of COVID that golf has had such a huge boom. Mm-hmm. We're seeing more and more people revolve golf around their daily life versus the opposite. You know, it's I'm golfing and I'm fitting in other things versus trying to fit in golf.
Right.
So it's good. You know, people are taking calls at the club. People are hanging out. They're bringing their kids. Wives are getting into the game. Mm-hmm. Alpine's become more of a home away from home for people. Where, you know, even a few years back it was, you know, you're going to the golf course, we're going to the beach.
Yeah. Right.
See you later type thing. But it's now becoming a hub for families. It's a hub for business. You know, we're getting our guest rates and our guest amounts are through the roof. Yeah. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are bringing friends, clients.
You're doing events there. I see it's a beautiful club.
We're doing a ton of events. We're seeing like we have an event every Monday, which is certainly a testament to our operation and the golf course, where people are noticing what a great facility is, what a great experience you get at Alpine. And it's good. We just had a great event with Malbon and 300 Entertainment.
Really cool.
So that was fun.
It's such a perfect spot for it. You're so close to the city.
Yeah, it is.
You know, people are coming to travel into the city. They can just pop up and play.
It's so easy to get to from Manhattan.
Right.
And there's another club in Alpine, Montami.
Yeah.
But Alpine is in Demarest.
We are in Demarest. That's correct.
Okay, that's really
Well, I shouldn't say half our course is in Alpine.
Half of it.
Half of it's
right.
you know, the good half.
I love it.
Well, let's switch gears and talk a little bit about your other role, which has also kept you very busy, you know, as the co-host there on the tee. I mean, this year, there's no lack of stories to talk about in the golf world.
Gosh.
Would you say, I mean, you've been watching golf for a long time. Would you say you can remember a bigger shakeup in professional golf than we've seen this year?
Shakeup, no.
Yeah.
No, there's been obviously bigger stories, you know, Tiger Mania, all that stuff was fantastic.
Yeah.
But from a shakeup perspective, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like this in sports in general.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at maybe the XFL.
We were talking about that earlier, but can you really compare?
No,
I mean,
nowhere near where this is.
Right.
Right. The financial backing that the Live Tour has.
Incredible.
Is unbelievable.
It's endless. And we were saying, like, what do you think their end goal is? What's their mission? How do they make money? Their YouTube numbers weren't that high.
I don't think they really care.
They don't care, right?
It's got to be a long game. Pour all the money in now.
It's not going anywhere. 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Get it established and then maybe, because right now it's none of the traditional ways that you'd make money. We're not seeing events have title sponsors. It's all live. Mm-hmm. So
eventually I could see that changing. I think.
Maybe. You would think they'd have to.
As it gains momentum. But it's a disruptor.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it is. I mean, there's been disruptors in every sport. You know, like I always think like hip hop was a disruptor in music.
Yeah,
right. It wasn't like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And now look where hip hop is. You know, it's okay to be a disruptor. There's things that you can learn from this. I mean, look at the XFL. We go back to that, where there's stuff that they did that is now commonplace in the NFL, right? You always think about the camera behind the quarterback, or, you know, on the wires, or the kickoff return, like all stuff like that. You might learn some stuff from that.
Yeah.
I think the end game's a little bit different than maybe some of those. I think they're trying to be competition for the PGA Tour. And it seems that every 3 or 4 days or a week, there's another one going.
Seriously.
I think what surprised me was we were following a trend of like the people who were going was more so some of the guys later on in the career, they're doing this math and they're realizing like, look, I would have to win XYZ versus this. I think we're starting to see like a big change was like today, the announcement as of when we're recording this, some of the top amateurs just skipping and going right there. I mean, you played college golf and things like that. What's your thought on something like that?
It's an easy answer, really. I mean, you look at the number 2 ranked amateur, Chara. His name is. They threw money at him coming out of college.
Right.
You know, and for someone like him, you know, a young Spanish kid, he's...
what did they give him? It was reported?
I don't know what they gave him.
I didn't hear what they gave him, but we're looking at it. If you come in dead last in tournament, it's still like 120,000.
Well, right, you could make the money. You don't have
no matter what.
With
so
that, right.
Guaranteed money for you, guaranteed money for your caddy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a big influence in how...
And they're paying all the caddies' expenses.
Caddy expenses.
Everything.
You're flying first class. You're staying at a fantastic hotel. You know, you're not going to the Red Roof Inn.
Right.
So caddies love that too. Say, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe
Which
we
was
should
a
try this live
brilliant
thing
plan.
out. You know,
Sure.
Going after the caddies is a brilliant
Brilliant team,
yeah.
fan, like all that.
Because their success lies on your player.
Of course.
So, yeah, it's brilliant.
Of course,
Right.
right? They want guaranteed money just as much as the player does.
Sure.
And look at the PGA Tour. You can't even eat in the same dining room as your player.
Right.
Right, a little different. So,
Right.
you know, you're throwing money at the person. It's guaranteed money. Here's someone who's right out of college. And the thing that he actually says is, I'm not on the PGA Tour, so they can't ban me from the PGA Tour. They can't suspend me. Let's say.
Right,
I've never been on it.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like suspending me from the PGA Tour.
Right.
John, you're suspended from the PGA Tour. All right. Where do I cash this $100 million check?
Right.
Oh, man.
So I feel like he feels he can always go back if he wanted to,
Yeah.
but this is guaranteed money.
Yeah, set up
This
your
is
life.
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
This is time with your family. This is time with your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Abraham Answer said it. I get to spend more time with my family and my friends.
Right.
Yeah.
And make guaranteed money. I can still play in the majors as of now.
As of now.
And I mean, as much as you want to say that these guys are playing for trophies and accolades, and
yeah.
I think the corner that we have to turn, though, is from the spectator standpoint. I was thinking about this myself. For it to have long-term success, it's got to get away from just being effectively, you know, there's no, it's a spectator. It's an exhibition match.
right.
Do you think that there's some road to them getting some sort of world ranking
Yeah,
points?
I think that's going to be the tough thing is where they, you know, that's kind of the out for the majors.
Right.
You know, if you're not
That's
getting
what I was
official
saying.
world ranking points,
Yep.
you're not in that top 50 to get exempt into the U.S. Open.
Right.
Right.
And could DJ go to the local qualifier at Alpine and make it there and then go to the sectionals and get in the U.S. Open? Yes.
Yeah.
Good.
As just Joe Public, you know?
Right.
Right. Which we might see.
But
happen.
the PGA is a little different. You have to be essentially a PGA member, which all the tour players are.
Right.
But now they're not. The
Right.
guys that went to the Live Tour.
And the
so
Masters is completely different, right?
the Masters can pretty much do what they want.
Its own animal.
They can
It's
do
an
whatever they
invitation.
want.
And the
Well,
RNA controls the Open. So
Yes.
they're probably going to be on the side.
Keep in mind that the RNA and the USGA are 99.9% in lockstep together.
Right together.
So and it's an open championship. You know, once they start saying it's not open, then guys with suitcases show up.
So if they ban all these guys from the majors, but Augusta says we'll allow return, we can only just get returning Masters winners only, like DJ and Phil, essentially.
They could.
Charles
I mean,
Schwartz,
one of the exemptions, obviously, the Masters. If you've won it before,
That's what I mean.
For life,
That
you
might
can
be
play
right.
again. It would be a huge step for them to ban
that.
winners.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
It
I mean,
could
that would
end
be
up being
taking a
just that,
huge
Masters only.
line in the stand. I don't know. I don't know if you'll see anything like that.
Yeah,
happen.
this is another long game for these four majors. Is that
Right.
they haven't said anything for 23.
Yeah.
You notice everything
Right.
was this year. We're not going to change our rules.
Right.
If you qualified, you're in. Come up to Massachusetts,
Yep.
have a good time. I think the tune is going to change a little bit next year, especially as we start to see more and more players go to the breakaway tour.
And as we see more and more fans start to give it attention.
Yeah, I think as more players go, you'll see fans. You
Yeah.
have to remember that I think the one thing that they're lacking right now, which I don't think they're going to lack for much longer, is some sort of television deal. And it's certainly going to be on a streaming network.
For sure.
I can see
Yeah.
YouTube TV or Fubo TV or something like that where all you need is an internet connection.
Yep.
Why would you go to NBC where it's just the United States? Have it on one of these international streaming services where we can watch it from Egypt, we can watch it from Italy, we can watch it from Canada.
Yeah.
It makes
Doesn't
sense.
really matter. So your audience is bigger that way. I think that'll be pretty close to happening soon. And once that happens, then you start getting sponsors, then you start getting, what we know is cookie cutter golf tournaments. Mm-hmm. But I still think they're going to do well with, obviously I think the 54 holes things is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the shotgun is a really
start.
good idea. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially you've got the whole golf tournament in 5 hours.
Well, especially for spectators.
Spectators, right?
They're making a great, like we talked about this on our last podcast, they're making a really good experience for spectators with it's shorter. You know what you're going to be there. And then they have the concerts afterwards.
doubt.
They have all that.
If I'm going to a
Yeah.
tournament, I'm parking my tail in one spot.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing everyone come through.
That's
it,
right.
Yeah.
Why not?
You might as well.
You might as well. That's
What
so. Again, it goes back to like the PGA Tour might start to be like, that's not such a bad idea. Maybe we could do something like that.
Right.
But right now, I just think they still have their boxing gloves and their mouthpiece in.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. All right, let's do a quick break for word from our sponsors. Then I want to get back and talk about more specifically the PGA Tour and how they kind of reacted to this. All right, of course, we want to thank FootJoy for sponsoring this episode of the podcast. And the Premier Series from FootJoy is the most played shoe on tour by far. So you've got 2022 Players Champion, who we had here on the podcast,
right, we did.
Cam Smith, JT, who you know we're coming for. We're going to get him. We're coming to get him on the podcast. Homa, Horschel, Adam Scott, Webb, Poulter. So many, many more have trusted the Premier Series. The collection has so many of those design and material characteristics one would expect from classically styled shoe, from that premium waterproof leathers, natural leather welts, and that great design that just exude craftsmanship. For me, it is my personal favorite shoe this season. It is that perfect blend of both that style and comfort. It's a shoe that shouldn't be as comfortable as it is.
Shouldn't be, and they turn heads.
You know, yeah.
They're
You look at it and you're like, it almost looks like it should be in a museum, not on your foot.
Right.
But you put it on, and the first time I learned it, I played doubleheader. I played back-to-back 36 holes at number 2, then Tobacco Road in my Premier.
Then you slept on that night.
I could have slept on them that night, that's for sure. But amazing traction, great stability, lighter weight, and it has that modern twist to a classic silhouette is what makes the Premier Series so unique. So you can learn more about the Premier Series. Check out the different designs in the Premier Series line. Go to footjoy.com.
And lastly, we want to thank Precision Pro. Guys, have you checked out the Nx10 Rangefinder? Check this out. It's play with style. I love it. It's I had it upside down, of course. But what I love about it is how customizable, and I'm going to run through some of the quick different features of this. They've got these upgraded internals, which means it's lightning quick. I love that in a rangefinder. It locks your target right away. They've improved their HD optics, so there's new LCD display, which increased the strength of them, and they increased that strength of the magnetic strip, which I love that because you just slap the thing on the side of your cart.
Yep.
You know you're not going to lose it if you hit like a bump. But here's the new thing, the personalized interchangeable plates here, which this little white thing here, if you're watching this podcast, this thing just pops off. It's magnetic, and you could swap it out with all different kinds. There's so many new designs. They're consistently releasing these designs. They're super easy. Like I said, magnetic. They slap right on, and you can mix it if you want to match an outfit or something. You can get really cool and creative. Of
course.
You know, if you're going to like a Pinehurst or some type of like real American course, you want to throw the American flag one on. Super cool. They make great gifts. And what I love is the customer service, the pro care package, the replacement of batteries, the 2-year warranty on the rangefinder. I'm running out of breath because there's so many things here that they offer. Some of the best customer service, hands down, in the industry. If something goes wrong with this thing, you can guarantee they're going to take care of it for you. Love the 90-day return.
And free battery replacements for life.
For life. Yeah. It's amazing. So you got to use promo code Golficity because you will get $20 off this rangefinder, which is already priced before the discount below $300. So you'll get more than 10% off or close to 10% off using that code. And guys, swing with confidence, hit more greens, Precision Pro.
It's a rangefinder that'll last you for years. There's no doubt about it.
That's what we want.
That's no doubt about it. So use that code Golficity to get $20 off. Let's get back to our interview with John Mascari. So diving back into the PGA Tour in general, I can't help but think that this shouldn't have surprised them.
No doubt.
You had Greg Norman talking about forever that he wanted to do something like this. And if just a little bit more foresight, they could have avoided a lot of the heartache that they're going through now. Because the reality is the PGA Tour, they can be difficult to deal with. And I think largely the part of the reason is if you're the only show in town, you make the rules.
Right.
I mean, we know just as content creators how difficult it's always been for us. Sure, anything we get to do with the tour, we feel very blessed. I'm not going to feel like they owe us anything. But on the same token, as everyone who's trying to grow this same game of golf, we think about it. We go to these events. We're like, guys, let us do some fun stuff. Lockdown. You can't do anything. They control everything that you do at these shows. And a lot of the players you started to hear talking about that too. Obviously, Phil, with where he went, got himself in a little bit of trouble. But it's also true. Like when Phil was doing like the matches, he had to pay $1 million in licensing to the PGA Tour. Right. But we all want to see more of that fun type of stuff. So I don't know. What do you think? Did the PGA Tour like miss it here?
Oh, they totally did. They totally had a chance to kind of, loosen the leash a little bit. And I hate to use that word but it is almost like they had these guys on a leash where it's, we're in charge. This is what's going to happen.
Right.
You got to play an X amount of events. We need you to show up for this, 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 and this.
Right.
You got to pay some money back if you're going to do the matches and so on and so forth. And
we own all the stuff that's created out here.
The guys are like, don't mess with my money.
Right. Right.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, so-and-so might not want to go up and play at the RBC. They might want to take the week off, or I might not want to go and play in this. And those things that were you heard chirping around the tour was what Greg Norman was like, all right, 8 events.
Yeah.
No cut. 54 holes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, man, this is great.
Right.
Take the whole Saudi government element out of it for now.
Right.
If you look at apples to apples, if you're a tour player,
right.
How do you not?
How do you not?
As good as, listen, you grew up wanting to be on the PGA Tour.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone who was a good collegiate golfer or professional, that was the end game at some point. Now, at some point, you had to be like, you know what, I'm not good enough. Mm-hmm. But if you do make it to that level, that's where you want to be. It's like being in the big leagues for any other sport.
Right.
But this thrown in from a sustainment perspective, meaning, I can play golf for 5 years and make the same amount of money I would have made for 20 years grinding it out, hoping to make cuts,
right.
Paying for this, paying my caddy, paying for this, travel, hoping I get an endorsement deal. This, it's stuff like that.
It's a grind.
To me,
it's
think
a grind.
Yeah. It 100% is. And I think that definitely the way it's set up right now favors the players. It makes it kind of a no-brainer that way. I think where they may have to pull that back or change something is there's still a way they got to favor like us as fans and spectators. Because to me, you get to like these no-cut events, everyone's getting paid. I start to think of it like an exhibition match.
Yeah.
I'd like to see a little bit more on the line. Like, I'm telling you, I was rooting so hard for Rob Labritz last week.
Of course.
Thinking like, no, you know him and he's a local guy, but life-changing money, worked so hard to get to this point. If he doesn't win, he gets nothing. He walks out there with nothing.
Right.
You think, like, to me as a spectator, that's what gets me going. Versus like a bunch of guys with millions in the bank, and no matter where they finish, they're walking home richer.
Right.
Is a little bit, I think they got to find a line.
Well, I
there.
think from a fan perspective, you're always going to have the diehard PGA Tour fans.
Yeah.
You know what? They're not going to root for Phil. They'll find someone else to root for.
Sure.
There's always going to be someone up and coming that they're going to, who they like to follow around. They'll cheer for.
Right.
I love the thought of involving the fans in more of the competition. I think that's where you have the whole betting and gambling perspective is, whether you have betting booths on the golf courses for some of these things where you're cheering for, and let's go make a bet. What's Abraham going to make on 12?
Right.
You know, and then there's some, you got some skin in the game, I guess, as a fan, which I think is pretty cool. But that's going to be interesting. And back to your point earlier where we talked about how they're attracting younger players.
Yeah.
That's a little bit of a different spin than I would have expected. I would have thought they would have gone for the older guys. Hey, you know what? You're kind of made your money, DJ.
Right.
Sail off into the sunset, play for 3-5 years. And
Right.
I think the
See
perfect
you
guy
later.
was Pat Perez.
right.
Here's a guy who's probably never going to win again on tour. He had a good career, decent career, made money.
Right.
But now he's at the stage, I think he's got kids, young kids.
Right, it's a
Take
bonus.
$10 million and go.
Right. My kids are set up for the rest of their
Right.
lives. Right. But now you start to see these guys coming out of college. I mean,
Yeah.
I always go back to Abraham Answer because for me, here's someone who's still doing this.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? It'd be different if he was like kind of plateauing.
Yeah.
He's on the rise.
Yeah.
Right?
I put him with
Top 20
Morikawa. I put him
players,
with
right.
Schauffele. Yeah.
And he's getting off the PGA Tour.
Right.
And now
And
Wolf.
Wolf
Yeah,
today.
another
Yeah.
guy.
Right? Who's next? Hovland, maybe?
Yeah. He would fit in that caliber.
Yeah.
But some are loyal. Some like the legacy.
Well, I think the problem is now what the PGA Tour is doing too is they're responding in a way, again, they're kicking themselves. They're working against themselves. Now they come out with this big money end of the season thing. So which you did
we were going to put that out. Yeah.
Right. A couple of, first of all, it's like, okay, so where would that money come from? Because you could have given it to the guys before.
It was in the stock room.
Right.
Secondly, what do we keep saying? A lot of these guys don't want to be playing golf for 12 months a year. They want some time with their family. They want some time with the road. Now you just put this thing into the fall season. You just took an 8-month season, made it 12. And then on top of that, now you put these guys who are your biggest champions, Rory, JT, you put them in a bad spot because now they've got to say, they've been saying it's not about the money, it's not about the money, it's not about the money.
Right.
And now you got these huge money
It's
games.
about the money.
And they got to be like, guys, I can't play in this because then it sounds like I'm about the money.
Yes, right. And I think anyone who says it's not about the money is probably lying.
Right. Right.
But
Definitely.
I think that was
I
very
could see-
reactive. Right?
Yes. Mhm.
They had a chance to be proactive years ago.
Right. That's the thing. See it, but and now they're going deeper into the way of actually working against what these guys want. But I could see some guys, like a guy like Rory or something like that. He's set for life. Doesn't have to make more money. Doesn't need another 100 million. And maybe he's chasing PGA Tour records, Hall of Fame sites.
No doubt.
I could see somebody like that saying, "I'm going to stick with it. That's what I want. I've got a nice head start. And I can make it and all those types of things." He could be the PGA Tour's champion.
I think a big part of, I don't want to say combating, but kind of going against this tour is how the majors work out.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, that's the one carrot that the PGA Tour and golf in America can dangle, saying you can't play in the majors.
Well, the huge blow
Yeah.
was this DP World Tour, because I'm actually kind of surprised they went with the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was some, elbowing a little under the table. The PGA Tour was like, "Hey, we've been with you and you're with us," because otherwise it would have been a smart move for them to go with it.
Sure.
Because now if they said, "Your guys are going to be on the DP World Tour, you play 8 events on Live, come over and play a couple of our events." Now all of a sudden you got DJ and these guys playing DP World Tour events, which were not getting many eyeballs. Right. It's almost like the perfect synergy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then even with that, like we tend to not get into the politics of it and whatever, and everyone can have their own opinion with the Saudi stuff. But in the past, you've had like the Saudi, what do you call it?
Invitational.
The Invitational.
Right. They play in Dubai all the time.
Right. And they played at that, and nobody was banned then. It wasn't that. Was that a DP event?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't remember if it was or not. But regardless, I'm saying there's some crossover that was already there.
Yeah, and you look at what the DP Tour said with the 3 events that they essentially suspended, which was, I think, Scottish Open, the Barracuda, and the Barbasol.
The ones with the co-sanctioned
Yes,
events.
they have co-branding with the PGA Tour.
Right.
That was it.
Yeah.
So if I'm them, you know what? If you're not doing anything next week,
Right.
you want to come and we're in the south of France. We'll set you up real nice.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, you know what? Sure. Why not?
Because that's that missing key. If they can get playing over there, then they're going to get the points that they need to stay in the official World Golf rankings.
And I think you're going to see a lot of changing with how points are going to be awarded.
Yeah.
Those guys are probably in a room somewhere crunching numbers right now.
I think so. And Mike made a good point. He said, I think there's some lawyers, some team, player lawyers who probably have an idea of a pretty good case against the PGA Tour.
Oh, they've got it ready to go.
Ready to go. And
It's in a folder, and it's just like, here it is.
And I think that's
The
why you're starting
second-
to see some guys go, and they're like, let's get going. And then
Right.
whatever.
The second they say, you know what, you can't play in the U.S. Open, lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be big.
Right. So, yeah, I think it will continue. It's going to be an evolving landscape. I think one of the, kind of silver lining with it, even though there's a lot of infighting within golf, it is bringing even more attention onto a game that's been growing incredibly rapidly. We were talking about this earlier. There's so many other sports outlets that don't normally touch on golf that are talking about it right now. Mm-hmm. It's getting people to tune in. It's even if it's nothing more than creating whatever side you're on, whichever side's the hero and the villain for you, there's still a hero and a villain. Yeah. And whenever there's a hero and a villain, there's a lot of watching going on. Right. Mm-hmm. So people are watching both sides of it. So I think both of their viewerships are probably up over it. So in a way, it is expanding the game.
It is definitely expanding it. There's no doubt. But I want to hear just one more thing on you and the show and the move into radio personality. Is this something you've wanted to do? And have you done things in the past where you've turned a camera on yourself and have you been into it?
I've always felt comfortable in front of the camera.
Because you were comfortable in us.
Yeah.
The minute we turned it on, you had jokes going. Like, it was great. We had a
It was a
blast
breath
with
of.
you.
It was like a sigh of relief for us because
Yeah.
there's a lot of very, very good golf professionals out there who don't. The camera's a different
just-
set of skills. Let's put it that way.
Let's put it
Well,
that
my
way.
mother always said I had a face for radio.
Thanks, Mom.
I always felt comfortable.
Mom.
But no, I always felt comfortable in a group. And for me, I was an only child.
Okay.
So I had to entertain myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that came easy to me. And I was always kind of the one who was in front of people, like the kind of getting everyone together type person. Mm-hmm. I did try some acting when I was in college. I was in like school plays and stuff like that, which came very natural to me. But when you're talking about something you love, like you guys are,
Yeah.
it's just real easy. It's just
Yeah.
three guys
Right.
hanging out talking about golf.
Right.
We said we'd be talking about golf whether the
There
cameras
could
are
be
on or not.
cameras on, there could
Right.
be no cameras on.
Exactly.
And I think that makes me feel at ease in that manner. It'd be different if we were talking about something I really wasn't well versed in.
Right.
I would be very nervous that the cameras are looking and they can probably tell that I'm
Right.
not faking. But
Yeah.
this is
Just
this is
natural.
my wheelhouse.
That's
And
it.
and that level of comfort comes natural.
Any
For
plans to take it further with any new ideas? Or?
Yeah, I'm always looking for opportunities.
Cool.
That to grow my brand, to grow what I do, to grow the game in New Jersey and the PGA of America. I sit on the board for New Jersey PGA as the PR chairman.
Oh, nice.
So I work a lot with our team at New Jersey PGA with promoting golf, promoting my colleagues, and promoting what we're doing in the state for the military, for people with special needs, for youth especially, and the New Jersey Golf Foundation as well is a big part of that. So the more times I can get in front of someone and talk golf and talk about what myself, my colleagues do to grow the game and what it's like to be a golf pro, and I might inspire someone else to get into golf as a career or to get into radio. I'm at a point now in my life where I'm, see all that gray hair there.
right,
I'm
right.
trying to the continuance, I guess, is my goal now. But as far as opportunities for me, I can definitely see myself progressing more towards golf media and
That's cool.
and doing something more in front of the camera.
I love it. Now, you've probably had the opportunity to play at some incredible courses throughout your career, but I think you mentioned you got to play at the Grove
I
recently.
did, yes.
Michael Jordan's exclusive club.
I did.
Can you give us a story or anything? Can you tell us?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, it's
No,
unlocked.
He told me
down.
I can't say
They
anything.
cut your hands off?
No, it was an unbelievable experience.
I bet.
And you know what? We talk about disrupting.
Yeah.
This was like no other golf experience I've ever had. And I've been playing golf for almost 25 years, where it's a lot of the same stuff, Oh, it's a
Yeah.
locker room. Oh, it's
Right.
It's it's cool, it's different. This was nothing like that. It was, the drive up,
Yeah.
the level of professionalism for everyone. It's, Mr. Mascari, we have your clubs on the range. What type of ball would you like to hit?
Right.
I'm like, what do you got? You're like, we have everything.
Sure.
So I'm like, do you have Callaway, Chrome Soft, low spin? They're like, yeah. And they bring me over a range bag of,
That's great.
I'm like, this is good. So I'm hitting Callaways. The guy I'm next to is hitting TaylorMade's. He's hitting Pro V1s.
Yeah.
So I just from jump,
Sure.
Yeah.
no pun intended.
Right.
It's different. The golf carts are super fast. The caddies ride the motorcycles. They're way ahead of you.
That's wild.
Music, every
Did they really have the drone?
drones,
Drone
bring it-
drop-ins.
drop-ins. They have a comfort station that looks like the back of a 7-Eleven. Like all the glass doors. You want every flavor of Gatorade, beef jerky, food, candy, ice cream bar. It's
Jeez.
like
Is the Jumpman logo everywhere? Or is it very subtle?
it's very subtle.
Okay.
But like red and black a lot.
Yeah.
You see a lot of the Tar Heel blue.
Yeah.
It's like subtle stuff. What I found real interesting, and this is me geeking out as the golf pro, was they changed their scorecard every day. So, you have the box with the scorecard and the tees.
Right.
in it.
Yeah.
They print out new ones every day based on the yardage that the tees are set from. Right? And they change the handicaps every day.
Wow.
So so we know that the number one handicap is always on the front nine, and odd, even, back and forth, back and forth. They do it however they want. So you could have the first handicap be 1, 2, 3, right out of the gate. First, second, third.
Wild.
Or 16, 17, 18. And I kind of started thinking about this, and I'm like, Mm-hmm. He's making the course up, and Michael, who he's playing against.
Yeah.
Does he want to give the shots early?
I say because he's a big gambler.
Or does he want to give the shots at the end?
Yeah.
Or get the shots or give, so he's maneuvering the golf course based on, hey, we're playing, I'm giving you 3. I want to get the 3 out right off the bat. So I'll give you 1, 2, and 3 as your stroke holes.
Wow.
And if I can get out being even or 1 or 2 down, now it's 1-on-1 even for the rest of the match.
Jeez.
Versus if he's getting the shots,
Yeah.
he wants them on 16, 17, and 18 because he can press.
I love it.
Right? So I'm
leave
like,
it to
aha,
MJ.
like light bulb
Right,
went on.
right.
Like, son of a gun, right?
So how was the course? Like difficult?
Course is fun.
layout-wise?
Listen, it's still new.
Yep.
It's got zoysia grass,
Okay.
which is like hitting off this. It's super durable. It handles heat real well. you can drive your golf cart anywhere. There's no cart paths.
Anywhere
you
you
can drive it right up to the tee, you get out, hit your shot, right back in the cart, right up to the green.
Because you're not hurting anything.
Yeah.
You're not hurting anything. It's like driving on asphalt. It's fun to play off. Not like typical Bermuda grass in Florida. It plays completely different.
Right.
You have to change how you chip, especially because the ball checks up more. It's fun. It's flat.
Okay.
It's got like some canals. It's built on an old orange grove. That's where the
Right,
name
came
from. But just from an overall experience, I mean, I played with a member as a twosome. We played the front 9 in 51 minutes.
Jeez. That's some fast golf.
And then we stopped because they were like, oh, we got to slow down a little bit, have some breakfast. You get there, there's no menu.
So you
It's
did the
just, hey,
food
what do you want? Yeah, I'll give you like a sausage and egg with
can
some
make
wine.
anything,
It's
yeah.
like, oh, whatever.
You took care of it, yeah.
And, we're sitting there having breakfast, and, there's Ricky Fowler teeing off in gym shorts and a T-shirt
Yeah.
in part of a sixsome. You could do whatever you want. Like, you could smoke your cigar wherever you want. You could play in a sixsome. Everyone has their own cart. And that's to the extreme.
Right.
But if you kind of pull it back a little bit, successful golf clubs are going to be like that.
Yeah.
The days of buttoned up, blazer for dinner stuff is dead.
Yeah.
We play music on the range
Right.
at Alpine. We have speakers in our golf carts. We
Is
have
hat
fun
off
events.
in the locker room still a thing in the clubhouse?
It should be. Not every, I mean, I'm old school in that way. I always take my hat off in
Right.
the locker room, but we're not dropping the elbow on someone who has their hat on.
Yeah.
In that
Yeah.
matter. And I think there's a part of golf that should be embraced by that.
Sure.
And listen, there's traditions. We get that.
Of course.
But it's also a recreational activity.
Yeah.
And people don't want to come to a golf course and feel stuffy and feel like they have to follow these rules.
Right, it
I'm
makes you
paying,
feel awkward.
I'm
Like,
paying X
yeah.
amount of dollars to be a member here. I want to have fun.
Right.
I want to do what I want. As long as I'm not hurting or impeding on anyone's else's experience, why do you care?
Right. And that's, I think, where it really is that golf has to embrace the diversity of people wanting different things. If you want to have your club is the stuffy club and you got a bunch of members that's all want the same thing, they all want to wear their suits to dinner, have that club.
go.
And then you want to have another club where guys are in gym shorts, have that, and then you have your choice.
It's like
of
it's
what
like
you
anything
want
else
to
you do.
join.
Like, I like
Right.
this restaurant. I like this
Exactly.
club. I like that nightclub.
Exactly.
Right? They're different places.
But that's the diversity. We're seeing that in so many areas of the game. Think about like Pop Stroke, or think about like, Top Golf and all.
Right.
We're starting to see where it's this vibe, this laid back, and where, people are golfers, non-golfers. It's also a hangout. It's all
Short
this
courses
different
like the
thing.
Cradle.
No
Right.
doubt.
Love it.
And that's the challenge for me as a golf pro is that, I have to kind of steer my board and my club
Right.
to where I think or where they think the club this is going to be.
Yeah.
Club ABC might be the mesh shorts and T-shirt, bring your dog out on the golf course, have a good time type place. And Club XYZ might be you got to wear a blazer.
Right.
And neither is wrong.
Right.
But that's your membership, and that's this membership. And you can't say that they're wrong, and I can't say that you're wrong. But the challenge is when you have
Yeah.
The good thing,
100 people that want this, and 100 people
that's
that want
tough.
that,
That's gotta be tough.
and 100 people that don't want either.
Yeah. Well, some places we do see a good blend. I'm just thinking Pinehurst, where you have number 2 right there and all of its, legacy and all that stuff. And a couple of footsteps away, people were playing barefoot golf in the Cradle with a bar and a transfusion in their hand. How cool is that?
Right,
I mean,
if you
that's
think
talking
about it, if you were to design a golf club, right, you probably would do something like a putting course, a short course. I would make every 6 holes come back to the clubhouse. 6, 6, 6. So you can play 6, you can play 12, you can play 18.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the little loops like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
More laid back, more family focus,
Rethinking
not
the
just
design.
golf, rethinking. And
Yeah.
the clubs that are starting to do that now are the ones that are going to be real successful.
No doubt about it. No doubt about
Give me
it.
Jimmy Buffett on loop and barefoot golf.
Yeah, right? Hawaiian shirts and margaritas. And
Let's go.
Yeah, it's like at the
changes
Cradle.
in latitudes, changes in attitudes.
That's right. They had the music hidden in the rocks at the Cradle, that type of thing. It's a changing landscape, but I think it's in a good way. And I think it's just golf. As long as it stops being one dimensional, I think it was because it was that one stuffy dimension that it got labeled across the board that this is what golf was, and it hurt. It hurt the PR of golf for a long time.
Right.
But we're seeing that change so rapidly now.
Right. I mean, look at us sitting here right now. Right?
Yeah.
This is something that wouldn't happen.
No.
10 years ago.
No
Right,
way.
yeah.
Right.
We're talking about golf in all these different ways and what's happening in the golf world. If I would have said 10 years ago this is happening,
No way. Right.
Yeah.
No
where's
way.
your sport code?
Yeah.
Put it on.
Well, the other thing, before we let you go, I know we're still, as when we're recording this, we're about a week or so out, but I want to talk about the Open Championship real quick. Who do you have your sights on?
Well, I mean, I think if you look at where the money's going, it's all on Tiger.
Yeah.
Right?
But always. Always.
But let's be honest.
And now
That's like, hey, you know what? Let me throw $50 on Tiger just in case something crazy happens.
I've always heard
say, hey, I bet on Tiger.
The sports books sweat it
Like
out. If Tiger ever actually won, because they would lose their
so much
shirt.
money.
Right. Yeah.
But, you know, I think it's going to be a great story for him. You know, he's going to pause on the Smoking Bridge and give the wave like Arnie did and Jack, because it'll probably be his last time playing in an Open at St. Andrews.
That's true.
It's the 150th Open. I think he's going to make the cut, so I'll go out on a limb and say that just because I think the time off is helpful for him.
Yeah.
The terrain is helpful for him. It's
Not as
not
hilly.
up and down. We all know St. Andrews. It's flat.
It's gonna be an easier walk.
It's an easier walk. It's a walk in the park, literally. But, you know, I'm looking at people like John Rahm. I love Victor Hovland, who is a very popular pick. I think DJ's going to play well for some odd reason.
Yeah.
You know, looking into some of the numbers, but there's some value in that 25 to 1 guys.
Right.
Off now, I think.
I mean, there's so many drivable greens on that course. I'm going to see how guys lay off and play like 6-iron off the first tee. It's like it's a different style of course. We had the ability to play in 2019. We were blessed. Did they ever play it?
I haven't.
Okay,
I haven't. I've been there, but I haven't played it.
We just said that you get in those bunkers, forget it.
One thing that they said when we played it, though, I remember the guy in the group with us asking and saying it just doesn't seem long enough for those guys. He said there's a lot of hidden tee boxes you're not seeing.
That's right.
There's tee boxes that it plays a lot longer than it did for me and you.
Right.
Yeah, a lot longer. And
it's true.
And when you move a tee box back, your landing areas shrink.
Yep.
Right. And then you have the elements. So if there's any bit of wind there.
Right.
Oh yeah.
But what Tiger did when he won there, he missed every bunker. And I'm looking for guys that can, you know, play that strat. I like that Rahm pick. I put some money behind Rahm for that.
Yeah. And you just can't discount Scheffler or Zalatoris in these things.
Yeah, boy, Willie
Zalatoris
Zalatoris is becoming like a major. You might as well just put a bet on him for the rest of every 4 majors.
Right.
For real.
You should.
Give him a top 10 bet every time.
Yeah. Definitely. Right.
That's what I said. It would be stupid not to throw a little money on a top 10.
Yeah, I know. Rory's going out right now as the odds-on favorite.
Yep.
You know, obviously for he's playing well. He's got like 3 top 3s already at the past.
Oh yeah,
3 top 10s, I think. So he's
so hot and cold though.
It
Look
blows
what happened.
my mind for him to like lose it at the Travelers like that. Yeah, they're coming out 8 under and then just like I guess
I think
it's
for him. It's just off the tee.
Yeah,
You know, he starts getting that ball going left, and a lot of things kind of come unraveled.
But he's got so much distance. He could put the driver away and do it. You know what I mean? Like if you saw that, we talked about playing your game that you got that day. Right. If you got Rory and he saw that he was struggling a little bit, that guy could put the driver away and still be as long as everybody else out there.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of drivers in the back, especially if the wind is down, because again, it's short. And I'm just saying, I remember from the WGT video game. I used to, and I used to live on that even during COVID.
Yeah.
Like I got through just playing that game, and I used to always play St. Andrews, so I know the course cold. And they put us back at the tips, full yardage, and I'm like driving greens on 3 or 4 of the holes.
Yeah.
And then we went to play it, and you drove the green on the 10.
Yep, on the 10.
And the first hole, we probably could have. It's the dumbest play in the world because you got to get over the creek.
Well, you got to remember, it's also like this tabletop.
Yes.
Everything rolls out.
Yeah,
forever.
for sure.
Right.
Forever.
One thing that in all the years playing video games, I just never put it together till I was out there is that they're all shared greens.
Yeah.
I never realized that. And then you stand on those greens, they're the size of football fields.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the undulations in them, the
wild.
TV will never ever do it justice.
Yeah.
They call the Himalayas next to it, the putting, because it's like that.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's my favorite tournament
Yeah.
of the 4 majors. And a lot of people like the Masters, but for me, it's always the Open, just because it's like old school.
Yeah.
It's like this is a golf course that's been around so long. They made a few tweaks here and there, but it's classic golf at its finest, and it's a true test. These guys are going to have to hit knockdowns and run-ups and high shots and low shots and land it in this little spot. So it's very creative.
Yeah.
And I love that part about golf is the creativity that you have, where I feel like the U.S. Open is just bomb it and just try to get it out of the rough.
Well, that's why my pick too is Rahm. I want to see a little bit of that, maybe that Seve, lineage.
That creative, right?
Yeah.
That creative, the Spaniard, the hands.
Yeah, because no one was more creative than Seve was.
God, the best hands in the world.
Yeah,
we certainly had an experience though, because we had a drink at the RNA. We were fortunate to get in with a wear blazer, and our guest who got us the tee time at the old course brought us 2 blazers. We went and had a Pimm's.
Yeah.
and we sat in the room, and then we went back to our hotel. We changed. We went out. We had a 5:45 p.m. round, and it didn't get dark till like 11. So we got the whole round in, and then we went out to the bar afterwards. I mean, so I could just imagine how epic that scene's going to be that week.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be crazy.
We were there, nothing was going on, but
Yeah. And that's where, to me, like sometimes this stuff he does have its fit. Like I wanted to put on a jacket.
Yeah, for
going
that
in
I
there.
wanted
You know
to
what I mean?
experience
You
that.
want like that's
the
like
birthplace
church.
of golf.
Yeah,
That's
that's church.
That's a great
you know?
way to say it.
Exactly.
We're going to church.
We're going to church today,
Right,
and I'm going
right.
to wear my best.
That's
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, I mean, legacy-wise, not only being the Open, but being at St. Andrews, 150th, all eyeballs
Yeah.
beyond it.
I had played Kings Barnes, which is not
Yeah,
far from
we
there.
did too, yeah.
And we kind of went over and just walked around after our round. I was with a good friend of mine, is the director of golf at Muirfield Village.
Oh, nice.
Where they play the Memorial,
Yeah.
Larry. And Larry and I we were talking, and he's like, you know what? I was flying out that night. He's like, I'm going to hang around. Maybe I'll get in the draw. You know, they had that draw in the morning.
Yeah.
You can get out as a single. And I ended up asking him, I'm like, hey, did you ever get in the draw? He's like, yeah, you know what? I got one of the 2 spots that were open. I'm like, you don't say so. Just happened to get in. He's like, yeah. I'm like, I know Jack called for you. He's like, yeah, Mr. Nicholas made a call. I'm like, of
Okay,
course
yeah.
he made a call for his pro.
Right.
Yeah, you happened to get one of the 2 spots. Wow. What a
By chance, exactly.
But he had played, and he's played it a bunch, and he loved it, and I definitely will get back there and play.
Yeah.
And how cool is that too? You think about it, something you would never see here. On Sundays, it's just a park.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
anyone can go out there.
Yeah, we were there, and there were people walking their dog, and
Yeah.
on the sand, and hanging out, and
How
cool.
wild
golf
is
balls
that?
flying all over the place.
Right. Just
Yeah.
Again, part of the whole mystique about that place.
Yeah,
it
definitely.
really is.
I loved every minute of it.
Well, listen, John, we appreciate you coming into the office and
You
doing
guys
this with
really
us
need
today.
to clean up around here. We do. It's a disaster.
We're
We're working on
it's
it.
like that old Jaws. We're gonna need a bigger boat. you
Yeah,
know?
well,
We
that's a good thing.
It is. It's
you know,
just we try to squeeze a lot into one room.
And
here.
you're our second in-studio guest because we took on the lease like a month before COVID. And then we had someone else come not too long ago, and you're our second guest.
Wow.
Our vision was to have guests in here all the time, but then that shut it down.
Well, we had Jake Hutt with Drive
Yeah, he
Box.
was
I don't
the
know if
other
you've
one.
seen that yet. Drive Box.
No, I haven't.
And again, the way the game is changing, they actually came up with it's brilliant. They've got a mobile golf simulator.
Awesome.
And they drive it around, and it just becomes golf
Just
becomes like a
opens up and-
pop up event at different places.
Great.
Yeah.
So it's just such cool stuff. But you all have to stay tuned to see the video, to see our match. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it was just also just a privilege to get out there at Alpine. The place looked
Thank you.
beautiful.
It was fun to have you. We had
so
a great
much
time.
fun. So much fun.
And you always have an open invite to come
Thank you.
down Route 17 and see us again.
we
do it.
will 100% have to be back.
appreciate
that's
it.
for sure. But thanks again for coming on the show, and we'll definitely check in with you again real soon.
All right, boys. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
Pleasure.
All right, that was fun. I mean, John's always a guy who's just fun to talk to. And you know what? Sometimes when you just like kind of click with somebody, like
Yeah.
on that first tee, you know, when he invited us out, play Alpine, we played a little match against him, and like, you know, we hadn't met before. And within moments, we're like, yeah, this is our guy.
We just knew personality. He was a vibe. Like he came dressed like in a nice outfit.
Yeah.
You know, like a nice fit. And he popped a joke with us right on the first tee. So he made us feel at ease right away. And the whole day was just so much fun hanging out with him.
Yeah, just a good guy who knows his stuff. He's like I said,
Yeah.
he's been around the game of golf for a long time. Love what he's doing with On the Tee. Definitely check that out if you guys aren't already listening. Just whether it comes from the tour or the local stuff that he does with Alpine. Very knowledgeable about all that stuff, and I'm sure we'll do something more with him again. But I wanted to get his take, especially from that director of golf standpoint, like what goes into that. Because a lot of times, you know, we meet our director of golf at whatever course you're playing, but you don't really know, well, what do they do like behind the scenes? And it's oftentimes the director of golf is the one who's keeping all those balls in the air, you know, juggling. And it's a lot of work, but it's also, as you heard him saying, it's an experience. It's rewarding and hard to find a better club to do it at than Alpine. I know it's a private club, but if you get a chance to play there, if someone gives you that invite,
Yeah, jump on it.
jump on it. Tillinghast, beautiful course, kept in great condition. It's got that challenge, and as John was saying, not an even lie out there.
No.
You want to talk about testing your game? You get those side hill lies, downhill lies. It's just it gets
It gets
difficult
you. And on
quick.
that second hole where it takes you down towards the clubhouse and you have to go over water to the
Yeah.
green. Like right away, it hits you with this beauty.
Quick thinking man's
Yeah.
course, that's for sure. But John, I want to thank John again for coming on the show. As always, weigh in with your comments. I know we talked about a lot today. We talked, about Live and about the Open. Let us know and drop your picks for the Open.
Yeah, I want to know your picks.
Let's hear your picks. Put them in the comments if you're watching this, YouTube, Facebook, wherever it may be. But otherwise, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week.